What is up, fishing men, women, and children? Isaac M. Finger back at it again with another video. Today we're going to talk about a tournament that I just fished with Bassmaster, my local Bassmaster chapter in Rolla, Missouri, and we're going to talk about what helped me catch my fish and what helped the person who took first place catch his fish, and the person who almost caught biggest bass. He lost by 1/4 of an inch, and but we're going to talk about what he caught his on, and we're going to talk about what the guy who caught his biggest bass on. Alright, so let's get to it. First off, the person who took first place was in 25 to 30 foot of water, I believe is what he said. And he was using a 12-inch black man's worm. It's also called blackberry. It has that blackberry scent with the hard head. He was Texas rigging it on a 5/0 bent shank worm hook, not an extra wide gap. And so what he was doing was he would rig it just like normal Texas rig, and then so you got that, and then he had his weight up here. He was weighting it, and what he was doing was he was fishing that real deep water because it was a nighttime tournament. That's why he was using black, and we were fishing the Lake of the Ozarks, and it's summertime, so those fish were hanging out real deep, and he ended up catching right around 75 fish is what he estimated, and that's how he was doing it. He was bouncing that off the bottom, dragging it really slow, and I guess they were hammering it. What me and my boater were doing was, well, what he was doing mostly, but I tried it a little bit, and we were successful. We had a 4/0 extra wide gap bent shank hook. I like the heavy wire because I use braid a lot. You're less likely to bend your hooks out, and all of our fish that we caught, and we caught probably 15 or 20 good ones, and a bunch of smaller ones as well, but 15 or 20 decent size, 12 to 15 inches, and he actually caught a 21 1/4 or 21 inch largemouth using this technique. We were doing exactly the same thing as the man's worm, Texas rigging, a rage tail green pumpkin rage tail craw, and then we were weighting it, pitching and flipping up under boat docks. Like I said, we were 8 to 10 foot of water, somewhere in that range, and we would pitch and flip, and we would also kick it up to the edges of the banks, and they were hitting it up under those boat docks and around the banks within 3 to 5 foot of the banks. The water was fairly clear, but like I said, it was nighttime, so we needed a little bit bigger profile, and this is just the original in green pumpkin, that rage tail craw. And what's nice about these is they hold up really well. They got that exclusive coffee scent, which I'm not sure if that hurts or helps, but I feel like it helps. They've also, you're probably not going to be able to see it, but they're wider. They've got that rage, I believe it's patented, tail to them on their claws. And you can see that it's wider Maybe you can see that, I don't know. And so whenever you Texas rig it like we did, we'd let it hit the bottom, and whenever it's floating down, those claws will move like this in the water. And it's just crazy good action, and the fish seem to like it a lot. Another thing that I was having good success with that night was a green pumpkin jig. This one is in particular is made by Strike King, but same basic concept with what we were doing. This one has rattles, but that's not necessary, and I feel like it doesn't help you enough to go out and buy rattles to put on all your jigs or anything like that. But it can be helpful occasionally whenever those fish want a more loud, vibrant, hard to find presentation. The presentations aren't as finessey and things like that. Those rattles can help those fish pick out your bait from that dark cover or wherever you're fishing in particular circumstances. I was pairing it up with a what color is this? This is a watermelon red flake, I believe. Rage Bug, that's what I was using as my trailer. And you'll notice on these Rage Bugs, let me get a new one out so you guys can see it, see the difference in what I was doing to tweak it a little bit. This is the one that I was actually fishing with, and this is the straight out of the package. They've also got that coffee scent just like the Rage Craws, but you can see it's got this little ball on the end, and what I do is I bite that ball off, and it helps your bait sit more flush with the jig. And so all I was doing, and there's thousands of ways to rig these, thousands of ways to do it, but I was bringing that hook right into the middle after I bit the ball off of that end, and whenever it starts to ball up, then you come out of your bait, and this is virtually the same way that I do all of my trailers, unless it's a chunk, then I do it differently. But push it all the way up, and you can see it's perfectly straight, and that's very key. You get a lot of movement and better action, and it won't come off as easily if you got it perfectly straight on there, and your hook will be more exposed for the fish to be able to bite it. Another thing that I typically do with my jigs is I'll trim down the skirts just a little bit from what they normally hang. That gives you more exposed trailer, and it gives you more action out of the trailer. One thing about these Rage Bugs, and most of the Rage, and a lot of your trailers and soft plastics will have them, but you can see that these are apart, and the antenna are apart, and these other secondary flappers on here are apart. But whenever you get them straight from the package, they'll actually be attached, and yeah, like this one. You can see how these are attached. You want to pull those apart, just like that. Pull those, and then you'll have that flap. And even these claws right here, your main claws, they're not going to have any action until you pull them apart. And then you'll have that flapping action, and these little antenna, they'll flutter in the water just like that, and you'll get more action out of them if you pull them apart. So you need to make sure you do that, or you won't have as much action as you are thinking you're having. But I was pitching this exact setup right here. I was pitching that up under docks, up next to brush piles. 5 to 10 foot of water is where most of my bites came from. I was letting it hit the bottom, and it'll flutter down, and then these claws, the way I set this type of jig head, you see it's got that flat bottom, so it's going to hit the bottom and your craw's going to stay up. And these claws will actually flutter in the water. And so that'll create a lot of movement, and every time you hop it, skip it up off the bottom, and I was moving real slow. That's one key that I think helped, was a slow presentation. I think that helped a lot for nighttime. But we were using just green pumpkin was our main color of the night, and blacks and blues like you would typically expect for nighttime fishing. But that green pumpkin and then that flat head on the back will help your hook stand up off the bottom, and it'll sit just like that in the water column, except your claws will stay up, which of course it's not underwater, so you guys can't really see that, but your claws and everything will move with the current, and this skirt will actually pulse like that in the current, and so you got a lot of action and a lot of movement, and the fish really key in on that movement and the vibration. They can feel it with their lateral line, that line that goes right down their side, and that helps them basically pick up what's going down, so to speak, in the water column. The last but not the least thing that I threw and I had the most success of the night with, and it was very odd the way it worked out. I only threw it because I saw a lot of small, really itty-bitty bait fish, but they were clustered, and it was nighttime, so I wanted to go black and blue, Colorado blade, real loud, real heavy thump, help those fish, again, key in on where my bait was. Black and blue, Booyah Colorado spinnerbait. As you can see, you got the red eyes. This one's pretty tore up. I was skipping it on rocks and up under boat docks and against ledges and everything else, trying to get in where the fish were. If you don't get hung up, you're not where the fish are. Simple matters of facts. If you notice that the fish are in 3 foot of water up against brush, that's where you need to be fishing. If you're not getting hung up every once in a while, everybody does it. Don't let the pros lie to you. If you're not getting hung up on that brush, then you're not where the fish are. If you're not getting hung up on boat docks every once in a while because everybody does it, you're not where the fish are. But black and blue spinnerbait, as a matter of fact, I was fishing, it was 6 foot of water, and I was just real slow rolling, just enough to where I could feel that Colorado blade at the end of my line flipping and spinning, and that's as slow as I was rolling it. I wasn't any slower. I didn't want the Colorado blade to stop, but I was not burning it through the water or anything crazy like that. And one just hammered it. I mean, a fish just put the chomp down on it, and I thought that I was gonna have the biggest fish of the night, if not my personal best. And the guy that was in the boat with me actually decided to he asked me if I wanted him to net it, and most of the night I hadn't been, and so I ended up having him net it for me. Believe it or not, it was a 15-pound flathead catfish. Hammered that spinnerbait just like a bass would. I could not believe it, and I had perch hammering it. It was the craziest thing, but that catfish, that just took it. And then a few hours later, the guy that was in the boat with me fishing, he was fishing that rage tail craw, bouncing it up off the bottom under boat docks, and he caught a shoe, believe it or not. Just a old sneaker, and it was the funniest thing. But yeah, those are the baits that helped me catch fish during the tournament, and those are the baits that could possibly help you. And if you guys got any questions, comment down below and let me know, and I'll come back with another video at some point. And thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you got the time. Check me out on Instagram. My name is Isaac M. Finger on there as well. Thank you for watching.